little free, cute little poem books, and if you want some, I'm giving them away. Unfamiliar mouths. With bodies, it's all about timing, all about the right thing and the right place. If you get the water you need in your lungs or the food, it's called aspiration, and you die. I never did have aspirations. If you get the good bacteria from your ass into your food, that's E. coli, and again, you could die. But sometimes we like to treat ass like food. If you take too many antibiotics, you could become a factory of bad bacteria. Stay so sick, they have to spray some healthy shit from someone else into your colon to colonize. At this point, you have the worst shit imaginable, liquid, acidic, stink, and it spreads like fire to every damaged asshole around. This is called C. difficile, and it is muy difficult to get rid of. This is how every part of us is built. If you judge the wrong thing in the right way at the right time, it causes fireworks of the best kind. If you touch the right place at the right time but say the wrong words, again, muy difficult to get out of the dish, the misplaced words. Dig it? This is called putting your foot in your mouth, and luckily, there's no shit involved. I'm a nurse. I work with there's food there.
Spare me.
Popcorn. It's in his vocal cords, his wide lips smile, the feeling he gives you that you're on the outside clamoring to get between those teeth, that tongue that pushes happily against them like waves in the ocean. Remind you of the first time you swam in salt water, how bright the Floridian sky, the bikini of day-glow flowers, your flat little tummy sick with swallowing, the warm swell. Nose and shoulders pink, sand powdering your body with tiny treasured shells. His breath is like that, like melted buttery stuff in rectangular red striped boxes, hot dog buns toasted with just enough give to each bite, how an ice cream sandwich tastes after the dog hops into the bun on the drive-in screen. John Travolta sings from the swing set stranded at the drive-in, branded a fool. Sandy, oh Sandy, what will I do? While good Sandy sings to her rippling reflection, hopelessly devoted to you. My Grease reference, I had that one. Frosting the cold. Sometimes you look at me like I was made of cake. You think I savor the story of a good breakup, and I tell you, some slices are better cut off. I'm always the first to replace the last, and you should know that before you go getting that look. I'm not a French fry, and you are out of salt. Birds are crashing the windows again, drunk on dog food and grass seed. It's a cold new year, and my cynicism has me all choked up. I put it on and take it off with spiked necklaces and skinny jeans, on and off banana peels on the closet floor. I don't know how to sustain desire, understand it only pertaining to men who need to be seduced, lured with hooks and juicy cheek. They only give hours of their time. Small pieces like appetizers taste better than the main course. And living together, I just don't know what to do with that.
Cassandra Dallett, yeah. Thank you. So I just wanted to introduce you, my co-host this evening. It's Kimberly Kim, and she's going to introduce the next writer. So please welcome Kimberly.
Thank you for being here tonight. I have the privilege of introducing Tony DeGenaro. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry. DeGenaro, is that correct? Okay. Tony is an Ohio poet living in California's Bay Area. Currently pursuing an MFA at the University of San Francisco, Tony received his BA at Oberlin University. His poetry has been published internationally. Wow!
So I'll just read like a few poems. Thank you. So I'll read one of the poems in the book, and that's like a teaser to help drive sales. This is ode to tinfoil. You savior, time capsule. So what if the meatloaf is only one day and into its archaeology? You've still taken something yesterday, and given it a future. You've made it a memory. You keep the steam on my grandmother's pot roast, turn that gravy into blood, plate of white rice into skin, turn my pliant flesh into a full plate. Suspend in a cold corner in the fridge behind carrots. What boils and sweats in your sheets, stainless mattress buckling under yet another baked mess. But farther still from the kitchen shelf, on the heads of conspiracy theorists, forwarding the mind readers of the universe, instead boosting an intergalactic signal from atop the old TV dad carried out of grandmother's basement, before that old house, with its cabinets, with its recipes, became a single room with only one window. Full disclosure, the view only had limited pleasures before the sun set. Cool. This next poem is not about food, but maybe it'll make you hungry for love. This is tutorial. There isn't a YouTube tutorial to show me how to be an entire country away from your hair. So when the cat sits in my lap, I have no choice but to put my chin on her forehead, try to catch her little pink tongue stuck out. She's a drunk celebrity and I am TMZ, but she is never looking at the camera. I imagine she's studying a photo reel from 1 month or 4 months or 1 year ago. Or maybe that isn't me and I am not a cat. I am the big person relying on a small animal who relies solely on instinct to survive. For comfort, maybe she will slaughter a mouse and carry it into my bedroom, plop it upon my futon, and I'll have to put whatever memoir I am reading down to clean up this mess. I try to think of your internet footprint while I evade piles of shit in the park I pace chain smoking in. You are visiting ModCloth. You send me pictures of other women wearing dresses you want to put on top of your body, that thing I've smelled and touched and washed and spread upon the chevron and teal comforter you sleep underneath in Mississippi, while in San Francisco I am wide awake. You were watching a video on YouTube about how to give yourself an updo for a wedding, not ours, that you and I will attend. I've long powered down the computer, the warm thing in my lap purrs, and suddenly, like the laptop she isn't, bites my fingers and runs off into the kitchen. Behind my eyes, I study what your hair will look like when it is not touching the bare shoulders you will fill that blue dress with. Let's read one more poem, also not about food. It's about San Francisco, which seems topical, what with us being here. Shout out to my Muni Rider homies. This is 5 Fulton, you guys. Give it up for that bus line, that 5L. Should change it. This is not about the 5 Limited, though. This is just the regular, slow 5 Fulton. If I were Peter Pan, or even just a robin, I would fly everywhere in this city. I would fly over Panhandle Park and navigate my hollow bones around clouds of smoke prayers coming from underneath the trees. Hallelujah. If I were Peter Pan, or even just a robin, I would be young forever, but you already knew that. The water would spread below me, and silver-finned fish would streamline messages on their backs, glint of sun catching off of them, but I am not a bird, and I cannot swim anywhere. So I take the bus. The 5 Fulton chirps, Larkin, in its monotoned cadence where I jump off for shish taouk at an Egyptian deli. The 5 Fulton chirps, 33rd, but in the avenues those numbers are synonyms for lovers and their arms and their beds, which is our bed. The 5 Fulton chirps, Van Ness, but before 5 speaks, 2 dudes start punching the shit out of each other and everyone is quietly crying behind their hysterically silent faces. Hallelujah, out the bus falls a body bleeding onto the sidewalk. The assailant runs away. If I were a bird, I could have flown away. I could have picked up the guy and his broken nose. I could have said flying is just like dancing and those red streaks you left are just paintings. Your body is the art of this city now. I could have followed the kid running away. If I were a bird, I would have shit on his head. On the 5 Fulton full of kids, a little girl in dread says, "Are you a teenager or a grown-up?" I say, "What makes a grown-up and what makes a teenager?" She says, 18 and older is a grown-up. She says, "I didn't go to church with the grown-ups today because I didn't wanna." Hallelujah. If I were her teacher, I would right there on the 5 Fulton give her 1,000,000 gold stars. Her teacher is yelling at her about talking. She has a rule breaker's spirit in her tiny arms. Her body is like a bird's. Her bones are small, light. If her eyes weren't so wide, she would float away. She hasn't forgotten who and where God is. Her small arms have wrapped themselves around what it means to fly on the ground down here in the bus. She is 5 or 6. I can't tell her after 18 you forget how to fly, so instead I just put my arm behind her back to make sure every time the bus lurches, she doesn't fall over. On the 5 Fulton, you cannot be a bird, but you can be beautiful. Hallelujah.